So we're talking about Olan Rogers Godspeed that came out as of recording this yesterday.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can add it to the slides now.
Nope.
No, he's already got it pulled in.
Yeah.
But Olan Rogers, we talked about this quite a while ago. He was dealing with a lot of stuff with Final Space and them kind of dropping his show, Final Space. And so he said, I'm going to just put up a GoFundMe and see if I can make a cartoon solely based off of me and a couple creators, just creativity, and not have to worry about a studio, dropping us and doing what they want. We're going to do our thing, and we're going to get it out there for the fans because we've got fans. And so they did that. They raised so much more than they ever expected. And
I think they were in the realm of, to give you some background, because he kind of explained it the past couple days. So they raised over $400,000 on Kickstarter. Once they got going, he was like, okay, this is going to get us about a 6 to 8 minute cartoon short with that amount of money, right? That they need. He found a private investor that brought it up to, I think, probably 1.6 million. I think that's based on the numbers. And they were able to get essentially a 28-minute short pilot for Godspeed. He has a new Kickstarter, and I guess we'll get into the review for this, but he has a new Kickstarter that I'll show you here. Let's see, share screen. And this went up. It's actually kind of a funny story. It was supposed to go live yesterday. It went out the day before because he scheduled it wrong. He put out a video being like, I messed up. The Godspeed Kickstarter's up a day early. And in this video, he's like, I'm talking about how you just watched Godspeed and you hadn't watched it yet. But in the first day, before Godspeed came out, it raised $70,000. Wow. Because I've been watching this. Godspeed came out.
Before
so the pledge
anybody even watched it.
Before anybody even watched it.
This is going to work. We're gonna give money.
And since Godspeed came out yesterday, we've blown past the $100,000 goal, and he's sitting at $136,000 currently. So to break down what's the needs as far as to keep this thing going, he kind of covers it down here in the Kickstarter. $100,000 is it keeps it alive. So it keeps the conversation going. He has assets for the animation. He can do real short social stuff, like 60-second, 2-minute social stuff to kind of keep like the animation ideas alive. Maybe they're going to put this in festivals. Maybe that can lead into it. 600,000 gets another episode that's around about 8 minutes, right? $1,200,000 gets to $1,800,000. Other full second episode like we saw yesterday. Yeah. Right. He's not expecting. I believe what he's saying is he's throwing these numbers out so we have a clear idea of what's needed. He's not expecting it to be raised. As you see, he put a goal out for 100,000 because he just wants to keep it alive with this. I think what he's really saying is it gets in festivals, it gets attention, it keeps alive by us, and then he gets private investors going to either turn this into a second episode or a whole season. That's really his goals, right? And I think it needs like a few $1 million for a whole season. So so we've already kept it alive based on the numbers. It's alive. It's moving forward. It's not going to be dead in the water with episode 1. So that's really positive. I think with that information, though, I want to do a review of this, right?
Yeah.
My first reaction is, wow. I mean, it's so... He really says that he wants people to laugh. He wants people to cry. He really wants to tap into what makes you feel things, right? With these simple animated stories. And I would say there was 2 moments that really made me teary-eyed. And this is a 28 episode pilot. I'm not invested in these characters yet, but it taps into you. And
go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say, well, it's definitely way more serious and dramatic than like Olan Rogers' previous stuff, because Olan is known for his comedy, and there was quips of comedy in there, but not like, I wouldn't call this a comedy. This was more of a serious thing.
We had a comic relief with Bowie, right?
Yeah. I would say it is more serious, but it's definitely kind of in line with his serious writing, which he's really good at. Even in the early days, when I would watch some of his just self-made series on his YouTube channel, just some sci-fi series that he would make. He's really good at taking goofy characters and making very serious, heartwarming, powerful moments with them.
That might be his biggest strength when it comes to storytelling.
Yeah, and so but also like this, just watching it, I'm so invested in what's happening just right from the get-go.
You don't happen to have a shot of the, I think it was just outer space, outer space shot. That was probably my favorite frame. There was a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
but
there was a lot of good
like this space frame looked really
visually cool. This is just a really incredible visual,
a new take, a new animation style.
Yeah,
right?
It visually was the lighting, the lines, everything.
And original music. I don't know what you score for the short.
Now, I think anyone who watches this probably is interested in hearing people talk about the end, right? So what? Now, Olan said Warner Brothers owns Final Space, and he said this kind of from the beginning. Insinuate what you will. You know what I mean? He's not officially making a statement about any of this, but insinuate what you will. So obviously, this is the daughter of Gary.
Probably
100% the daughter of Gary and what's her face? I can't remember, because she's mixed, first of all. And the Kingslayer, you know what I'm saying, there at the end.
Well, what I love about it is it's very clearly a similar thing that has happened to Gary, where his dad went off to stop the destruction.
Right.
You know, his dad went off to stop the destruction, and then there were a couple other similarities that I noticed, and but it's a much more serious take. And you're right, the cat dude at the end with the same voice.
Yeah, same actor.
Yeah,
same actor
as Avocado.
Well, that's the actor can voice whatever he wants. That has nothing to do with. But and they did make it a point to say like that guy that is in the photos is like her uncle. So
yeah, and I in Final Space lore though, Avocado does die. So I'm not sure if this is supposed to be Lil Kato. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Or what exactly it's insinuating, but 100% he's piggybacking without it being obvious, because he doesn't want to infringe on copyrights. And I think that's perfectly appropriate, especially for how dirty they did him. He deserves to have this in the same way that he deserves way more than just being able to create a graphic novel to end the Final Space story. He deserves the story. It's his. It doesn't matter who technically has money behind it. It's his story. And it's wrong that the way they treated his story and how much effort he put into it.
Now, I don't know. Did I get a good picture of her just like standing? I wanted to sort of see her outfits, and
we got the orange accents, like
the orange accents, like Little Kato. She's wearing, I think she's wearing like a red shirt under a jacket, which is very Gary. He wears a red shirt under under a distinct jacket.
Right.
His is brown.
Yeah. So overall, like as far as dialogue goes, as far as talent goes, what are you guys sitting at? If you're gonna treat this and review it like you would any other Hollywood production,
I think there was very dramatic and visually really good. I think you could tell maybe here and there they were saving some frames, almost anime-esque, to save some money, and you could tell that here and there. It wasn't bad though. It still worked for a cartoon, and everything was very pleasing to watch.
In some ways, I kind of like that vibe. I like the way it feels, as far as it kind of changes. It changes the way they move it from time to time. It's like a refreshing. It's almost this in some ways, I think, deserves to be. This just so much reminds me of something you might see on Love, Death, and Robots, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's just it's such a unique animated style. It's so beautifully done. The voice talent did a good job. I wouldn't say there's not, I didn't it was hard to find an anchor point as far as a charisma in the talent that you might with obviously with Olan and Gary, somebody there from Final Space, but I feel like it's a little bit like it's not anchored as much as I would hope, but it's still a solid story. Did you guys kind of get that feeling a little bit?
Yeah.
Like we're observing something that's very different than Olan does. There's not there wasn't any big standout characters or standout performances that just really grabbed your attention outside of Bowie, maybe.
Yeah, I think Bowie was definitely the character I enjoyed watching the most because of his eccentricities. Olin's really good at taking characters like that and just making you like really love them.
Yeah, exactly. It just the way he kept just wanting to party and dance.
Yeah, that's one of his things. He takes like he'll take a character and be fun with it and give them one or two things that they're consistent with to make you care about them. Like his thing is wanting to party, wanting to dance.
He's like, they have so much music. I'm downloading all of it.
Yeah, it makes me love that character so much because of their hyperfixation. Like the ship in Final Space with the cookies.
Yeah, exactly.
And
or the peeing fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or what's the character? Triborg, the one that's just like the 3-eyed green alien.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Just being super eccentric.
Yes. Crazily weird too.
Insanely weird. But no, I liked the serious tone of this one.
I did too. It's new. I think it's stretching him creatively, which is important. I'm really excited to see what a follow-up to this would be once we get to that point. And I do have faith that we'll reach another full episode of this.
I think so too. Are you guys kind of pretty much done talking about the episode itself? Because I just want to, I don't know, what do you guys think? This is our opinions, and we support Olan regardless what he does. But do you think he's doing the best he can on releasing stuff? Do you think he should have maybe, I don't know, had like one or two like almost premieres for this episode rather than just releasing it on his YouTube? Or do you think he did the best?
No, I think he's doing the look. Personally, if I'm going to look at his creative role, he needs to. He has a lot of support and there's a lot of love for Olan. He needs to connect harder with the audience again. He needs to release him videos. He needs to keep him going along with working on this stuff. So that means like once every 2 weeks, look, just create a story, give a life update, like do something fun. Like he's releasing Mondays, which is now like his new ice cream shop on wheels in Nashville there. And I think they're going to travel around. So they got Mondays open. Let's see a little Olan Rogers documentary on Mondays. You know what I mean? Like we need to connect to Olan here. We can't just have and releasing your animation and doing it all like private funders and fundraising and releasing it on YouTube. Like get out of Hollywood. You don't need it. 100% you don't need it. You're going to be so much happier. It's going to be so much better and the fans are going to love it so much more if you keep it out of Hollywood and do what you're doing here. He's on the right track. We just need more Olan, you know?
I liked the reference. It was like I had a shop, but it was destroyed by a tornado.
Yeah, my goodness. There's the cookie on the floor. There's a lot of good references.
Good references in this animation, and I'm glad we got it.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to analyze Olan and the way he's doing things right now, like what do you think he needs to just keep pushing this momentum down the road? You know,
I think you're right. I think he needs to be
get in front of the screen because he's the face of this, regardless if he's not doing the voice acting. He is a little bit, but he's the face of this.
We're invested in it different than Hollywood.
Yeah,
we're not invested as much. We are invested in the stories he's telling, but we're invested in him as a storyteller. And we really love the stories he tells, whether it's animated or him as a talking head, you know?
Yeah.
And we want to see those. And we love when he's doing super creative directing and animation or anything when it comes to this or Final Space. But goodness, it doesn't just take the wind out of his sails. It takes the wind out of the whole audience sails when Final Space gets screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really hurts everybody because we're invested so heavily in him as a storyteller. And I want him to realize that. I want him to say, hey, it's not just about, we're not just here. Like Rick and Morty or Family Guy, like these will exist for who's necessarily making them. We're here because Olan's making it. You know?
Yeah.
And he needs to understand this is not, you can't approach it as an indie person with the Hollywood system. You are stronger as you.
Yeah.
You are strong.
Agreed.
You throwing up a unedited talking head video is more powerful than 5 episodes of Family Guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more powerful.
Because nobody's following Seth MacFarlane.
Nobody.
He's not the reason people watch Family Guy. It's just because it's a show that people watch and people like to laugh. People like Olan stuff because of Olan.
It's Olan, yeah.
We like the creativity that comes out of that mind of his and the personality of his, you know? And so we want to see it on videos. We want to see it in films. We want to see it in animations. We want to see Olan, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And so just do more of that. It's very unlikely he'll come across this video, but if he does, good grief. Like, give us more you. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it if you don't have time. Just hit record on a camera. Don't even set up a microphone, bro.
Yeah,
just give us more.
Put the effort into your projects, but talk to us.
Talk to us. Don't give us one video every 5 or 6 months. Talk to us.
Talk to us.
Talk to us a couple times a month. That's what we want, you know? And we'll continue rewarding you for that effort.
Yeah, we
just will. We'll keep funding your Godspeed.
We want to laugh with you and cry with you and go through the whole process.
I want to see about Mondays.
And when you break your tailbone going down the steps, then we will.
It's the same reason people like their YouTube content creators is because they want to go on the journey with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the expectation already there in his channel that he puts it out as he puts out stuff that is not just him, but also it doesn't have to be super regular. But we just do need more. And like you have support. Everything from balloon shop to starting your channel to screaming at Target to freaking fighting a bat off in a small tent. Everything that you've put out, everything that he's put out is important for the audience to hear and enjoy. You're an entertainer and you're good at it. You don't have to be an amazing director. You are just you, and that's what makes you good at it.
And the animated content and the stories don't have to be as consistent. They can be few and far between, but it really is his face. His face needs to be the thing that we see. Just talking, just having a good time.
And sharing his opinions. I know he's alluded to opinions, but I think he's been hurt by Hollywood so much he's nervous to say stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we want to hear your opinions, bro. The audience is going to be your support system.
I'd love to see him do some commentary on other people's projects.
Yeah. I want to hear stories of the good, the bad, and the ugly of the whole time on Final Space. Like, there's so many stories, so much laughter and pain, and so much. You could put a 5-part documentary together that's simple, that you edit from your bedroom, you know, or your office space.
In person, work with Keith David. Is Keith David awesome in person? I imagine he's awesome in person. Did you know, who'd you get to? Yeah, I want to hear those things.
Warner Brothers doesn't own your stories.
Yeah, they don't own your interactions with Keith David.
No, you can. That all can happen.
Just tell me about Keith David. I just want to know.
So yeah, I don't know. I care so much about the content, his entertainment, so much more than most YouTubers I follow, which is so strange. I think it's just because
you're invested.
Well, his charisma's off. Like it's his charisma is so far beyond the average person. And he's made me laugh so many times. I'm so invested now.
And you identify with him too.
I do. The solo creative that just wants to do fun stuff, and then he's got this excited for life personality. And he's really tapped into how he feels about things, so that calls for great storytelling. My goodness, there's so much potential behind this guy. And I just want to see everything he does succeed, but I need to see more of it. I need to see more of it.